seen this guy post up, I don't know, a 1970 Jimmy or a Blazer for like $8,000. I thought, maybe I should take a look at doing one of these, because I just sold off that 64 GMC I had, and kind of looking to get into trouble with something else, something a little bit different. So I started looking for a first gen Blazer or Jimmy. Now, if you don't know those years, they only did them for 69, 70, 71, and 72. There's a 4-year run. There wasn't a lot of them. I think in 69 there was like 4,400 or something, or 4,000. By 72 it was over 40,000. But up here in Canada, the big question is how many remain, because these 4x4 Jimmys and Blazers never got a day off. It's not like you parked them in the winter time. That's when you took them, when the roads were bad. If you were on gravel roads, snowy roads, icy roads, rainy roads, you took the Jimmy or the Blazer. You're going camping in the back 40. And when they got beat up, we put a plow on them, and we plowed snow with them. Now they're really messed up. Guys got hold of them and put 35-inch tires on them, 44-inch tires, went rock crawling, mud bonging. Man, we beat the hell out of these things. So the reality is, not a lot of them exist today. I don't really like the word rare, because it's not like you never see them, but you don't very often see them in the wild. You don't sit at a light and see one pull up next to you. You see them at the car shows. If you see one at the auto wreckers or at Safeway, it's kind of a rare sighting, if you will. And the price on these things now have gone through the roof. So what's a guy to do? Can you build a beater? Can you find a beater? Well, if you look around hard enough, I suppose you can. Because I put out a wanted ad. I'm looking for a 69 to 72 Blazer or Jimmy. And what I was looking for was a project. I didn't want to get too crazy with the project, not something completely beat. So I got a few guys making some offers to me. In fact, that one I seen for like $8,000 or 8,500, I tried to get hold of that guy, but he never got back to me. My assumption is he sold it. But another guy did get back to me, a guy out of Andrew, Alberta, and he had it was a 1970 or 71 Blazer. I'll probably put a picture in here somewhere. And the initial picture looked okay. And then he told me he had actually taken it apart. And it had been apart for a while. I don't know what a while means. A few years is my assumption. And I got these pictures. And then I got told the price is $15,000 for... Wow. It's going to require a lot of work. And if your starting point is $15,000, you're already in a pretty deep hole. Now, these things do sell for over $400,000 on the top end. I think I've seen it on Haggerty for $440,000 US. I'm not going to build anything worth anything near that. But you would think if you had a running and driving one, it's got to be worth, what, 15 or 20? You'd think so. Hold your hat. So another guy got hold of me, a fellow out of Airdrie, and he sent me a bunch of these pictures. Now, this Blazer looks a little more together. In fact, it was running, driving when it snapped the front axle and kind of got parked. The current owner bought it like this, never really drove it because the front axle's broken. It comes with a new front axle, but the rust on it was pretty concerning to me. I'll put some pictures here of some of my more concerning rust areas. And this one was, I think it was $18,000. I think it was $18,000, and then it did come with some extra parts, and the extra parts were $1,000, and I'll say the extra parts were well worth the price of admission. Because it included some new fenders, and they included the front axle, and he had some good stuff for a good price. for the extras. But again, I'm $19,000 at a starting point. It hasn't ran in over 10 years. It's not going to run and drive onto the trailer. That's not going to happen. So I don't know how the transfer case is. I don't know how the transmission is. I don't know how the engine is. Neither does the current owner, really. So that one's $19,000. Next up, another guy got hold of me. He had one that's been parked for 30 years. The catch is it's been parked inside, so that's kind of nice. It does have a repaint on it. He can't really vouch for what's under that repaint. And that one is $25,000. And I got these pictures here. It doesn't look bad. It looks like a pretty good starting point, assuming that it's not all rusted out under that repaint. Again, $25,000 is a hell of a starting point, though. And I was talking to a buddy of mine I know, mostly online, and he sent me an ad for this one. And this one was up for sale. The guy says 1969 Blazer. It's actually a 1972 Blazer, but he says 1969 Blazer, $1,500. It has a good roof, VIN, and frame. The rest of it's pretty much garbage. So I'm not too sure what to make of that. I got 4 pictures. I did not ask for more pictures. I did not argue his price point. I figure for $1,500 I can probably find a starting point. Worst case, I can probably sell the parts and get my $1,500 back, or close to, and maybe get a half decent video out of this. I don't know. Hopefully it's not just a big mistake and I'm buying. He's right, and it really is a VIN, a top, and a frame. But if he is, I guess I'll learn something out of it, and I guess I'll find out how much a Blazer top's worth too. At any rate, we're almost there. Should be there an hour and a half, and I'll probably fade into the parking lot of this thing. I heard it's in a yard in somebody's shop. So when we get there, we'll take a look at what we got and see what we bought for $1,500. Let's see. Yeah, there it is there.
Lots of...
Well, there it is. Oh boy, does that look rough. Well, she's all loaded up. I think we're gonna just kind of move to a better location. This is apologize ahead of time for the wind if it's an issue. My new mic just isn't working out. I know it looks like a Jimmy from the front. It's a GMC front end, but it's actually a GMC pickup front end. See, it's a 910. This is a K5. This is, I know it looks like a Jimmy, it looks like a GMC. It identifies as a GMC from the front, but when you look under the skirt, this is a Chevrolet. This is a Blazer. It is manufactured by Chevrolet. Both VINs add up. Yeah, I know. So, let's talk about the rust. It's bad. The inner fenders got rust on them. These fenders have been poorly patched. These doors, absolute nightmare. Rear quarters, that is pure Bondo. This wheel well, not great. Back here, needs a patch. Rear tailgate. The nice thing about these rear tailgates is that they're the same as a pickup truck. So that's not difficult. We can take care of that. Back here, this hat actually lashes. That's good. Comes with a couple of good fenders. I believe these are GMC fenders, but that's okay. I'm likely going to try and trade these what appear to be good GMC fenders and usable GMC grill. Maybe not as usable as I thought. Pretty crunched up, actually, to be honest. And this, I think it's a good rad support. It looks, oh, that looks like a, yeah, it's a GMC rad support. So I got that rad support. I got this grill. I got those fenders. I got the fenders that are on it. The hood that's on it, that's a GMC hood. You can see the holes for the GMC logo. And this GMC grill. Wouldn't mind trading that for usable 71, 72 Chevy stuff. We'll see. The rust on here, this trim appears to be holding this back part on. That's okay. This has got mud in it all over. That's okay too. This is the good door. You can see it has some door left on it. And this fender kind of matches the other fender. Got a whammo up here. The good news is it's good glass. Somebody tried to patch the roof. I imagine the roof cracked because of the rocker boxes, torsion boxes, torque boxes. If you don't know what I'm talking about, that's okay, because I didn't either until just a couple weeks ago. You see, the early Blazers, the convertible top went all the way to the windshield from 69 to 75, I believe. And the way they kept the bodies from twisting too much is they actually welded in a plate that basically went from your front floor support to your rear floor support and then over. And it kind of created this box. It's a good box for all sorts of stuff to rust and collect and dirt and sand and salt and crud. And then it moves around in there and rusts and breaks everything apart until somebody has to come along and put on a new rocker panel that they screwed on. Don't do that. That's not going to help. That does nothing good. Okay, don't be screwing on rocker panels. So that didn't help. That made it worse. And then I came along and I'm going to try and save this thing, but you can see like the bottom of this door. I don't know. Can you save that? I don't know. Are people saving that? I don't know. Can Charles Manson be saved? You tell me. On the inside here, let's talk about some of the good stuff, because there is some good stuff. The fiberglass top looks pretty good on that side. Looks like we got one little crack there. I don't know if that's a big deal or not. It's 72, so the windshield is glued to the frame. We got some good visors up there, usable dash. We got some good door panels. 72 is a 1 year only door panel deal, so it's kind of nice that we got them. The gauge cluster is all gauges, with the exception of the tack. I'll take it. We don't have a good radio, but we do have a seat here. Somebody's drilled some holes for speakers. That's okay, pretty typical. We have our factory seats, factory seat belts. We have the factory back seat here. It looks usable. Might have to put a patch in it, but it looks usable. Down here I got a bunch of, I guess, turn signals, and some emblems and whatnot. Got some good stuff, I guess. See how this is? It looks like it's opened up. I don't know. We'll have to figure it out, though. Yeah, we already looked in here. We looked out here. You guys want to look under the hood? All right. So when I bought it, buddy said the transmission will not hold transmission fluid. It actually runs out almost as fast as you put it in. So he actually drove it to where it was the other day or last week or whatever. But you put the transmission fluid in, and because the case is cracked, it leaks out pretty quick. But that means the motor runs, or it's supposed to. I didn't even try and get it running. I don't care. I'll probably pull it apart, reseal it at a minimum, change out the intake for a 4-barrel, blah, blah, blah. You know, usual kid stuff. So I am looking for a TH350 4-wheel drive transmission. If you got one in the Edmonton area, reach out to me. I could use one. I don't want to spend a ton of money on it. Okay. Okay. Oh yeah. We got the keys in. Is that okay? Whatever. That's fine. Not everything needs to work. You know what I mean? My brother doesn't work. Okay, let's get that out of there. We'll take these home with us. You know, we don't want anybody stealing this. Get a little weight reduction there every time you slam a door. So these front bumpers got to come off, so I'm looking for front bumpers. This back bumper's got to come off, so I'm looking for a back bumper. I'm looking for the trim, if you got the trim. If not, I might just go trimless. Set of wheels would be cool. See what I can do there. No, it needs a lot of stuff before here. Okay. Now. Right about there.
What's
Rod, you oil pan.
I think we're good.
All right, Fuller.
Yep. Okay, so I got about a liter of transmission fluid into this converter. Stick that in there. That's the second click. I know I got both clicks, but I've always been nervous and I always just keep going. Yeah, she's good. We got the motor and trans bolted up. We got the transmission hooked up, the linkage and all that good stuff. Got a little more work obviously to do with the engine, but it is bolted in here. It's bolted into the transmission. I think we're doing okay. People who tell you this distributor is too close to the firewall, don't know what they're talking about, that's fine. Went in, no problem. Okay, it'll come out, no problem. That'll be easy peasy. Lemon squeezy. Tuning in and you're hoping to catch that guy who's been doing, you know, body work, metal repair and all that good stuff for, you know, 40, 45 years. Takes nice stuff and makes it perfect stuff. I hate to disappoint you, but just like my wife, you're gonna be. What I am is a guy who takes, you know, absolute garbage, which is what this is. You can see this door is trash. That's rocker panel we're looking at. This rear quarter is trash. We get in here, we look at this rocker panel. Somebody's taken a rocker panel and just kind of screwed it to the broken one, rusted out one. This A pillar is trash. This B pillar is trash. This floor is trash. I don't even know how bad that floor is. Oh, that's bad. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh boy. So we need to make a plan and try and make this a little less trashy. So here's my plan. And I don't know if it's right, but here's what we're gonna do. I'm going to start by removing this door. I know a lot of guys are going to say you should brace that up, but brace what up? Do any of us think this is in the right spot right now? Because I don't. I do not think this is in the right spot right now. I think it's rusted out and sagged out, and we're going to have to bring it back. I think that gap is big for a reason, although I don't know why. Does this need to come forward? Does this door need to go back? Regardless, what I'm going to do is remove the door, remove that chunk of floor, probably replace that front floor support, weld the floor back on, install this inner rocker floor patch piece, and then the outer rocker. We'll also need to do that A-pillar extension, and then instead of replacing this, I got a new trick for you. Well, not trick, but treat, I suppose. So I'm gonna put some music on for me, because this will probably be, it's be a few hours, and I'll pop in and talk with you here and there. But I think I'm just gonna put you on, what do you call that, time lapse? You don't need to see me fight with this and fight with that and get this stuff off, but I'll let you come along for the ride anyway. So that's what's next. I'm going to start ripping this off, and then we'll take a closer look at it together. Okay, let's get her out and see what we're actually working with. Okay, so this is what I have revealed. I got the seat out of here, obviously, in the floor mat. Back here in this seating area, it's pretty good. Same as typically on a truck, it's pretty good because it's kind of protected from the seat. Out here, not so good, but we knew that. Down in here, it's a little worse than I had hoped, but it's not a big deal. I took the pan and tried it out there. It'll reach. What I see that this support here, so it has this plate is welded to that support. This support comes from the end here. It's actually a body mount. It goes all the way across. Actually, I think it's right here. Yeah. So this is the body mount right here. I guess I'll have to undo that before I get too carried away too. And then we got the rocker box underneath. I'm not real sure about the right way to do this. I look online and I can't find anything. So if you're a Blazer guy, you're probably like me. If you know of some good YouTube videos, hey, share them with me in the comments if you don't mind. You can't have too much information. At any rate, I am going to go ahead and keep exploring. Obviously, this all needs to come out anyway, so I may as well just keep at it and see where we end up. I'm probably going to have to put a patch up here too. Okay, I'm going to grab a zip disc, cut this out, and then we'll see where we end up. I probably won't bring you along for that because I'm tired of replacing GoPros. All right, hang with. Okay, well, we got a pile out of here. We got a bunch cut out here, although we're not done. This plate was a real bugger. So it had welds all along here, and it had welds out here, going along this floor support. But I've finally kind of cut and wiggled and jiggled and pulled and got that off. So then I cut out, a nice big hole here for my floor pan. But I'm not real happy with that. I look under here and so I got to go up to this lip. Okay. Like that metal is not terrible, but I'd like to replace it. I think it would be the best thing to do. So if I do, on Blazers and Jimmys, they have what they call a rocker box. That's what this guy is here. It's probably a little confusing if you have a pickup truck. You're wondering, like, why is there another floor? Is this a 2-story? That's a good joke. Is it a 2-story? No, this is called a rocker box. So the rocker box actually on the front attaches to that lip from that floor pan. See that lip? See that? Okay, see that lip right there? That lip is this lip right here. So I would like to include it. Question is, if I include it, do I need to cut off this rocker box already? I think the answer is yes. That's going to have to come off. That's welded to it. Clearly it's got to come off. If I'm taking that off, am I taking this off? This is also welded to the rocker box. All sorts of good stuff here. Might save that. Need those bolts. There's not much left of the rocker box. It's not like we have any structural support out of it. You know what I mean? It's doing nothing at this point. So I think that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to lop it off. At least up there for now. I should just lop the whole thing off. But I'm not going to lie, I'm a little nervous because I'm kind of cutting everything away. I'm really worried about this thing kind of spreading out worse than it already is. Yeah, I know. It's a little risky, but you don't roll a 7 if you don't roll the dice. And we got to trust something. These pieces, these front floor supports, have always been pretty good for me. The rear ones, not so good. Like in a truck, but these ones have always been pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and run some tack welds and flatten this and run some more tack welds. And I'm going to say this is good. Then I'll clean this off and kind of get it ready for welding to the floor pan. And then I'll get our other plate on here. And then we'll come back and we'll get started on this pan itself. I was sitting on, I guess, this rocker when I trimmed that, and this collapsed completely. There's nothing here. I should really just chop her out of the way. At least it would be out of my way. But I'm not going to. Here's where we're at. That's welded, that's welded. I got that plate cut to go in there. I'd like to get a couple things done before I actually weld that piece in permanently. Even this piece, I'm a little hesitant. I think if I line it up with this rocker box in the back, I think that should be good. Because that's where it needs to sit. Okay, so I got that door off. I'm going to go ahead and I want to replace this. It's what they refer to as an A-pillar extension. So that's going to go right here. A-pillar extension on a Chevy truck. You know, it doesn't matter, car, truck, whatever. A is your first pillar. B is your second pillar. So A-pillar extension, that's this guy. So the way I like to do it, right or wrong, I don't know. But I take this measurement from the top of here to the middle of my bolt hole. That's 2.5 inches. And I transfer that on here. And that's where I'm going to cut to. My good metal ends about here. But I really don't want to get into the middle of this. So I think I'll just take all of it. Then I also took a 10-inch measurement from up here to here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this. I'm going to lay this in place. I'll tack it. I'll take this measurement, confirm it's still 10 inches from here to the bolt holes once I get that in there. And if it is, I'll go ahead and weld it up. You can see this is in terrible shape. Once this is on, then I can get started on my rocker. All right, let me get going. Okay, so I got the door on. It bolts on. Everything's okay that way. Still same here. Like we don't have any strength in our floor. So when we open this, it drops. It closes kind of same as it was with too much of a gap here. But, putting that little A-pillar extension on is not going to close up that gap. I'm hoping when we put this bed panel on, or bedside on, we can close up that gap. But, so right now I'm happy with that. I feel like I can go ahead and maybe put a little primer on there or paint or something so it doesn't rust. Pull this door off and get to the next part, I guess. Maybe we should do those body bushings too. Kind of forgot about that. All right, let's do that first, I guess. We'll see where we end up. Hopefully those come off okay. Okay, so we got that guy welded on. Got those bolts in there for the A-pillar to the floor. I'm just trying to size this thing up to see how she's sitting in there. And it's kind of hard to tell. But it seems like this floor needs to drop a little bit. Now, of course, it will. Once I cut this and weld it, it will drop. I don't know. I'm thinking like here it's up quite a bit. I may drop as much as 1/8 of an inch. Regardless, I should be able to wallow out those bolt holes if I had to and drop that floor down if I had to. Hope I don't have to, but might have to. Also, another thing we noticed, Tyler's joining us today.
Hello.
Another thing we noticed is I don't know if you remember this gap. Before it was the better part of a 1/2 inch, maybe a little bit more. And now it's still a bit gappy for my liking, but it's better. In fact, I could live with that. If when we're finished, I had a gap like that here, I'm going to be okay with it. So I think at this point, we knock the door off and we zip this guy up and we weld up that floor. We'll see where we stand. We'll try and get the rocker panel on there as well. It's tucked underneath for now. So let's go ahead and rip her off and get back at her. See you soon. See you soon. Just like a TV. Okay, so we got this panel welded on here. Tyler did the honors. Got her all welded on. Kelly welds for a living. Looks good. Back here, gonna need to make a little patch here. That is not gonna fly. Nothing to weld to. Okay, so now I've got energy suspension here. Not sure if I know what the part number is. If I can dig it up, here it is here. This is the instruction sheet for 3.4110. So, as you can see here, it does lay out what goes where. This is your core support, so I've put that one together. This is your number 2, which is this guy here, that guy. And then the thing is, from here on out, they're all the same. So 3, 4, 5, and 6, they all lay out the same. Let me walk you through this. So this is your core support. So it's those ones are for the core support only. This upper is unique to the core support. So your core support will go on, and then this top one, then this guy, then this will go through your support mount, and then this guy, and then this guy, and then you'll tighten her up on the bottom. These are the ones here in the driver's side, or driver's side, passenger side. Doesn't really matter, floorboard. So your bolt will go through, and then underneath the vehicle will be this guy, and then through the mount, we're going to slide this bushing up here, this metal sleeve, and that'll go in, and then it's got this unique to this spot only. You can see all the rest of them got a taller one. Don't know why that one's shorter, but it is. And that's the only spot they use them, is in the floor pans, driver's side and passenger side. All the other ones use this style here. And these are the back ones. So there's 8 in the back. Okay, so I got the mat pulled back, and as suspected, we got these little globs of weld, and it's under the paint, so clearly this came from the factory like that. I can reuse this one. I can reuse that one. That one broke on me, that guy there, but I can reuse that one. I don't know if that one's gonna pop out of there, or if that little piece is gonna be welded to the floor. I'm not sure. But those four, take 4 of those. Then we got this guy up here, takes that big hefty guy. Then that guy there actually goes up here for the core support. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'll go ahead and I'll grab a grinder and I'll clean off those welds. No sense bringing you guys along for that. That's pretty boring. Okay, back out here. Now we're getting into some uncharted territory for me. I've never done anything like this before, so you're gonna have to bear with me because I don't really know what I'm doing here. I do have an assembly manual, so I'm gonna kind of go off of that and hope that's got some good stuff to it. I believe this is supposed to be down here like this, and this pillar welds to it. There's not much there anymore. It maybe comes up about that high, so I'm going to cut it there. In here we have a bunch of bolts up inside here that actually mount from this wheel tub to the to the bedside. I'm going to start with this, and if they don't come out good, and I don't expect them to, I'm going to try and start tightening them. I'm just going to break them. I think that might be the way to go there. I believe there's some bolts in behind these tail lights, just like on pickup truck. We got some carriage bolts down here that need to come out. I don't know if this needs to come off. I'm going to take it off anyway. And then this, we'll have to expose these screws so we can take out that fuel fill, blah, blah, blah. And then there's another carriage bolt there. I don't know how much more beyond that. I haven't really been able to find too much online, to be honest. So let's get started and see what happens, I guess. These are 1/2 inch. Maybe I'll start with trying to take them off first. We'll see how that goes. Hey, well, that actually worked pretty good. I was expecting them just to strip or break. Well, maybe I'll just loosen them all and then come in with the Milwaukee and back them off the rest of the way. Whoa. Back there I didn't see. I don't know if it's factory or not. It was just a tack. I'll show you what I'm up against. So here we're free. We'll have to get in here and do a little tightening up, I guess. Back here, I'm kind of caught up on this guy. And this bumper ain't helping me. So I don't know, I might cut that bumper away. This bumper's being replaced anyway. What do you think? Throw a few bolts in and then let's let go of that strap and see what happens. All right, whose big idea was that? I'm willing to try it. That would suck, wouldn't it? Another thing I noticed while I was smashing dents up here is that we have no holes for our top. That lined up to that hole pretty good, didn't it? Not too bad. I feel like I can maneuver that over. Hey, before I get too carried away, you guys want to try that rocker on? I get a baseline for where I'm at. So, without any further ado, I think we should get this door installed and see how it looks. Okay, so here's where we're at. Let me walk you through it. Like, this guy is just bolted on. It's bolted. It's got three bolts here. There's 2 bolts under here. There's, I think, 7 bolts up along inside this wheel well here. There's 4 at the back post. I think you can see 2 of them down in here, the back side of them. Maybe you can't see them. And then we got 4 more back here. And she's solid, let me tell you. Like, she's good. Up here with the door, so our gap looks, pretty good. I might like a little bit less, but I'm okay with that. I would drive it just like that, no problem. A couple problems I do have is I seem a little bit proud here to the windshield. In fact, if you look, that gap starts out pretty wide and scoots down into an overlap. Okay. Then down here, you look and you see this body line don't quite match up, saying that this door needs to go up. Wait a minute. If this door goes up, this goes even further up. In fact, if this door goes up, our acceptable body line is going to get tweaked, right? It's going to go from straight to, so it'll open up here and it'll close in there. I guess what I'm saying is I got to do a little bit of digging. So right now, so this is installed. All my floor is done. I got that patch panel done up over there. This floor is in, the inner rocker's in. This is actually just attached with a couple of screws and some clamps, because I'm just trying to line everything up. In fact, I'm making contact right here. Now, if this door came up a hair, as much as it should, I wouldn't make contact, because it's just enough to scrape the paint off. Okay, so today I'm going to get into the rocker box. If you don't know what a rocker box is, that's okay. A lot of us didn't know what a rocker box is. You're probably not going to know what a rocker box is unless you buy, a Blazer or a Jimmy, and it happens to be first gen or maybe an early second gen, like square body ones. Basically, if you had a full convertible, right, it means right to the windshield, Blazer or Jimmy, you got a rocker box. I didn't know these things were a thing. I thought this was kind of set up like a truck cab, and the later ones were. So I had a 76 Jimmy that's on the channel here. It didn't have these things. I think once it's installed, it'll be a little harder to explain what's going on. So I thought I would kind of open with it and kind of show you what we got. It's a rocker box is a 3-piece unit. So it consists of this large kind of tub, if you will. And this tub welds to the firewall right there. This lip right above, right at the top of the like where your pedals sit, where that floor pan is, there's that little lip that comes over. That welds right to that lip. And this guy here runs all the way across. This welds on as well. And that's going to weld on. There's a floor support under there. I'll take you under and I'll show you. This is just a structural rod. Some people think it's a fuel line. I won't mention any names, but that is actually just to help keep structure. So that's gonna weld across there. That's gonna weld across there. This all welds across the inner rocker panel. I'll take you in there and show you. This guy here, this is part of the 3-piece. So this is piece number 1. This is piece number 2. This is called a rocker box reinforcement panel. And this guy actually bolts into this bedside here. Right inside here. I'll take you in and show you where that bolts in. And then we got this end cap. This end cap's kind of interesting. It only bolts. So there's 3 bolts there. There's 3 bolts here. There's 3 bolts across here, and then 2 bolts here. I don't know if this unbolts to clean that out. I could imagine that'll probably hold a lot of sand and gravel and dirt and crud and rust, and like mine rotted right out into nothingness. There's a chunk of it laying over there on the floor. What's left of it, like it just turned into ribbons. Let's see here. So you can see here, this is the large part of the deep part of the tub, if you will. What's left of mine. There's not much here. So I'll have to go along the top and cut and grind and chisel and hammer, and I'll get this off though. So I'll weld that along there, across the front where I showed you in the floor pan, and then also the inner rocker here. It'll come up onto that. Back here is where that rocker box reinforcement panel goes. There's a couple of bolts here. I think this guy up here, this guy down here. There's a couple that come in from the cab that go in there. These ones up top. And then that rocker box bolts back here. Oh, rocker box bolts 2 up there, 3 here, and then onto the box itself. While I was under here, I thought it was a good idea to do all of my body bushings. So give myself a fighting chance at getting this thing straight before I weld that stuff in. And yeah, so that's what I'm going to open with. I am going to start by trying to rip the rest of this off. So I was laying under there, I said I was going to cut this guy off first, and that's what I did. I cut that big strip off, you know, it only makes sense. Now I'm dealing with a strip about this wide for the entire length, and it kind of started out like that. So what I started to do was just chop out the weld, and then I realized if I cut kind of as I go and just left the weld, I could just go back and knock those out with a chisel and a grinder and a zip disc and what have you. It probably took, I don't know, the better part of 30-40 minutes. It's not that long, but when you're laying on your back eating rust and grinding dust and all the rest of it, it can sure seem like a long time. Let's go in there and take a look. So I got this all cleaned up. I got the welds cut out. I got in with a grinder, cleaned everything up. You can see in some spots I dig too deep. I'll see where that lines up with a new one. It should line up the same spot, so I should be able to just fill that in with weld when the time comes. I'm not overly concerned about it, but that is all prepped for welding. Same as this inner rocker, all prepped for welding. It's ready to go. Okay, got that in. Let me walk you through everything. Thanks to my lovely wife with the nice black mark on her forehead. Okay, so here's what was holding us together before. You can see there's not much there. And if anything, it's just pretty rotted out. In fact, the passenger side is much the same thing. Let me go underneath with you and I'll show you exactly what we did. Okay, so I started by welding across the front on the firewall there, you know, the toe kick area. I will admit this, this front body bushing, that had to come out because this actually kind of slips underneath the corner of it there. Can you see that? So it slips underneath the corner of it, so that was a pain in the butt. So I tried to take that out and push this up and blah blah blah, but in the end we got her. Next up was back here. So I found it easier to just kind of loosely bolt everything together, very loosely. Actually, this this reinforcement panel, that got installed tight right off the bat. But all of this stuff here, this all got just loosely attached. And I had to really get in there with a pry bar and pry on it and stretch this and get her over there. It wasn't easy. This didn't just fall into place. In fact, I would get on here. I probably started with about an inch short, and I'm pulling on pry bars and everything else, trying to get this stuff in. Finally, once I get that in, I can get one of these in, so on and so forth. And then when you tighten all this up, especially these guys and these guys, when you tighten those up, it really pulls it together. And then this pulls her up to the body. And then once this was in place, you know, the front was welded, then I went ahead and welded all this up. So this needs to weld to the rocker. And then up here, this is where the heavy welding takes place. Because, you know, you're welding to that floor support, which is pretty thick. I'd say like 1/8 of an inch thick, maybe even thicker. And then this is pretty thick as well. So you can really gob the weld on there, which is what I did, which is also what the factory did. I put on about 4 times as much weld as the factory did, but I probably did it a quarter time as good. So it all works out in the end. So that's where we're at. The one thing to remember is you're going to have to get your own bolts. When you order this, it doesn't come with bolts. So you'll have to get your own. And for heaven's sakes, do all your body mounts and bushings first. Don't do it afterwards, because I don't know. I wanted this thing sitting properly before I did that. And I also had to do my rockers, and I also changed out a bedside. So I had, you know, the luxury of having a lot of new parts here already. If you're doing all this stuff and you haven't got your rocker box, I would recommend getting it, because I feel like it's really tightened up the body. That side's next. I think I'll spare you me making a video of it, because, well, I just made a video of this side. Okay, so got the bedside off. My buddy Tyler's supposed to be coming by tomorrow if he's not too busy. On the off chance that he is busy, he's got a pretty busy life. I was thinking I might get my wife to give me a hand to toss this bedside on tonight. Maybe throw 3 or 4 bolts in it just so it doesn't go anywhere. And maybe even, if I can sweet talk her into it, throw the tailgate on. Just, you know, see how it all looks. You know what I'm saying? So right now it looks like this. Okay, you want to go hold the other side? That's what I said, no question. Well, the wife and I, hello wife, had decided to toss the tailgate on as well, just to kind of show that, you know, it's starting to look like we got a blazer here. Got a good gap here. This went on okay. Had to do a little bit of trimming like you do with aftermarket pieces, but it looks like it's fitting okay here. She just loosely fit up. Yeah, I gotta, don't start, I got stuff to do, yes. But over here, this first one that went on, you can see we got quite the gap up top. So, I know, I'm learning as I go too, so we'll have to fix it. That's all there is to it. My assumption is we'll go in and we'll loosen all the bolts that we have that actually handle any of this. And we'll go ahead and we'll bring it back. Maybe we'll latch the tailgate before we tighten those back down. But overall, pretty happy with it. You know, it goes together pretty good. I kind of expected some fitment issues, having never done this before, and we got them. Luckily, I haven't welded anything yet as far as the bedsides, just bolted stuff up. So we should be able to get ourselves out of this, you know, before we commit to any welding. This bedside I got from Scott was actually already, somebody did the body work on it, like kind of prepped it for paint. You can see where they went in, did some filler work in here, and this is the kind of stuff they were doing. This is all the spot welds from the factory in Taiwan or wherever this was made. Okay, so in my hunt to try and get this alignment all right and figure out where this A-pillar needs to go, I reached out to the internet and I said, hey, has anyone got any experience with this? Because I kind of feel like it's kind of coming apart on me. And guys said, here's what you do. You put your roof on first, and that'll tell you where everything needs to go. Put the roof on, and then that'll tell you where your A-pillar needs to go. It'll tell you where your door needs to go, all that good stuff. But it makes sense. Yeah, like I've never done one of these before. Thanks. I should have reached out before. So I went ahead. I got my brother to come give me a hand. We tossed the roof on, and it's on there, and it's fantastic. And it kind of shows me where this A-pillar needs to go. Look at that line. That's beautiful. Man, these guys know what they're talking about. That's fantastic. And then we come over here and we go, wow, boy, that gap on the bottom's pretty big. And we're pretty tight up here. In fact, if you look, it's rubbing. So that means this door needs to kind of do that. Hey, what about my, that's beautiful. Am I gonna lose that? I don't know. Maybe I'll lose that. I'm not too sure. I'll fight with that after I get this A-pillar repair done and after I get that outer rocker on. And then we still got to do that rocker box or torsion box, or, you know, it depends who you are or what you call it. Over on this side, you can see the roof doesn't fit quite as well. It looks like it wants to sit down a little bit, but it doesn't. Like, I see it was hit here. Maybe a tree or something fell on it. Maybe that kind of bowed that out. I don't know. But this is where it wants to be. If I pull this any further forward, I have issues with the door, I think. I'm not too sure. And then our old friend, the gap, is back. We had this kind of cleared up. But in putting this top on, we actually pushed that A-pillar forward. And when we did, we opened this up again. So now our gap is back. Guess who's back? Gappy's back. Okay, so that'll be another issue. I'm hoping we can align that out of here with this door. Or maybe we got to build that up. I don't know. Anybody got some thoughts on that? I'm all ears. Well, that's a pretty healthy gap. It's like a ½ inch gap all the way down. It's straight. And here's looking pretty good because this was kind of touching before. It started to touch about here and then overlapped up here. But obviously, when you pull that A-pillar up, that disappears. So it's still got some issues here to deal with. I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm pretty frustrated. If somebody came along and offered me what I'm into it for right now, I'd probably say, here, come pick it up, because I'm kind of at my wit's end right now. But I fly to work today. I'll probably cool off while I'm away and come back and just keep at her. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, so what I've done is I cut it below where I actually want to cut it. And that's so I can get a better idea on the fitment of this. If I leave it whole, I can't really get on this at all. But now I can kind of get a feel for what I want. And then I'll just come behind and scribe it. Then I'll make that cut. And then I'll weld this on. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I got the door back on. I just got it tacked in a couple spots. One tack there, and I think I got one tack around the corner there. And it seems to fit fine. You know, we're lined up good here. We got good body line here. We got good body line here. Seems to be okay. If anything, this door seems a bit further back than the rocker. In fact, the rocker could probably go that way a bit. But we're already off of there. So we're already going to have to do some cuts and everything. And we seem to be up against it here. Wonder if I can... Maybe I'll try and get myself a little 2x4 and try and see if I can pull that just a bit. So I'm also just making contact. Yeah, maybe I'll do a little pounding on there and we'll see what happens. Alright, I'll be back. So Danielle's just clearancing some of this to make it fit. Doesn't quite fit like we'd like it to, so to bring it tight we had to kind of cut it, pie shape it in, and she says she can get it perfect, right?
Yeah.
Alright.
Gonna cut that there.
So easy, a welder can do it.
Yeah.
Well, alright. So, let's see what happens here.
See what happens. Gotta carry this off here.
Sure.
That stupid button.
That's what we in the trade call a sick bead. Made by a sick welder.
Sick beads.
Sick beads. Who needs mad beads when you got sick beads? Now, we got this gap. And Danielle has an idea.
Oh, it's mine now.
Yeah, tell us about your idea.
We're gonna weld a rod in there.
We're going to take a piece of this 1/4-inch rod. We're going to weld it up along the side. This bedside. Now, if you remember, this door has been replaced and this bedside has been replaced. And the last door in the last bedside had this exact same gap. So I can't really explain what's going on there. Can you?
No, there's a gap.
But Danielle figures she can weld this in and make it look like it was never a problem. Mm-hmm. So that's what we're going to do. All right, you ready to go?
Yep.
Me too. Let's do it. Let's take a look here. Oh. So Danielle has tacked that in all the way down. It's not bad on the bottom. She gets a little gappy up here at top. So we're thinking we might just take a TIG rod and just weld that in there as well. And then go back and just kind of fill in a lot of these welds with more welds.
More welds.
More welds. Alright, so we're going to do that next. TIG rod on this side. Okay, so here's where we're at. Remember that giant gap we had before? Well, there's our gap now. Clearly we got some more welding to do and a little body filler and some paint. Looks pretty good. What do you think?
I like it.
I like it too.
Only one tack broke.
Only one tack broke. Not bad. Alright, let's so what we end up doing, we used a 1/4-inch rod and then we used a piece of TIG after that. Like the gap after the rod just still wasn't happy with it. Now I'm very happy. Considering what we started with to where we are. It's pretty good. Wouldn't you say?
Pretty good, not bad.
Pretty good, not bad. Good welding by Danielle. Let's keep going. See where we end. Okay, so we got her prepped up there. Just kind of hit her with the flapper. Now I'm gonna squeeze a little bit of fiberglass in there, just a little short strand. We'll see how that goes. Okay, well we got her done. Let's take a look here. What I ended up doing was on the inside here. I just kind of put some of that fiberglass in there and went in and sanded her down. Just kind of squeezed her in and kind of got her in there with my finger. And I think it looks pretty good. You know, not trying to hide anything, but at the same time, I don't want it to look, you know, garbagey. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Out here, this is where we ended up with. Now, if you remember before, I could damn near get my thumb in the gap we had. Now, I still need to take a longboard and sand this down. I just wanted to like rough it in, and that's what we got. We got a pretty good gap. This needs to be sanded in up top here. I'm pretty happy with that. Like, isn't that amazing? From where we were to where we are. And the nice thing is, you know, if I smack up a door, I just replace the door and nothing else needs to change. If I have to change this bedside again, it'll have to be fixed up. But, you know, chances are this bedside's going to outlive me, so I'm not really too concerned about it. That's not going to be my problem. It might be somebody else's, but it won't be mine. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Danielle did a real nice job of welding that up, and I'm pretty stoked about that.
Nope, missed that one.
Down here. Okay, so when putting this in, you want to put your O-ring in first. Then your sending unit, like so. And this will tell you where this is going to get located, right there, like that. Then your ring goes on. So this, you should be able to get two of them kind of tucked in. And the last one require a little bit of... but I'm going to start taking this off, and then I'll bring you back. I don't want to make you spend a bunch of time watching me take staples out. All right, I'll be back. Okay, so here's our new one. So it's just going to slip on and over. This one you don't need to do the whole garbage bag thing. You can if you want to. I just don't find it necessary. What is necessary, though, is this needs all the listing wire. It didn't come with it, so I'll have to do that. Goes raw in through here. Maybe I'll just show you how to throw it in. Okay, there she is, kind of put back together, I suppose. It's not rocket science. What did that take us? 2 hours? 2.5 hours, maybe?
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, like it's not a big job, especially the back seat's probably the easiest one. Just want to ensure you got full swing of the transfer case. We got her all right there. There we go. Okay. So I've decided just to splash some black on here to kind of match what's back here. I don't really care for the whole green, blue, yellow, red, black and white thing I got going on. So last night I decided to hit the yellow with some black, and now this morning I'll hit the rest of it. I did hit it with Scotch-Brite yesterday, but I don't think it quite got down deep enough, so I went and got some stronger stuff this morning. And I'm just gonna knock the shine off of it and just hit her with some black, and we'll see how she looks when we're done. I got the old turbo can going. This one's trim clad. I know down in the States they use Rust-Oleum. But yeah, I'm gonna give this a go and we'll see how it works out. I'll start on the hood here. everything I read says basically this stuff is terrible. Not sure if I shot anything on the interior or not, but I did get the seats done and got those in, so those are looking pretty good. Got the carpet in, that looks great. Back carpet short, well, I don't want to talk about it, but here we are. Okay, kind of back for the grand finale, temporary grand finale, I suppose. This is what we got. So let me walk you through some of the stuff I probably glazed over that you don't really, need to watch. I picked up some center caps and some beauty rings for it. I think it looks pretty good. Kind of finishes off those brand new wheels and tires, right? Looks pretty damn good, I gotta say. I found out my front clip wasn't quite as good as I had hoped it was. I found this dinger that I didn't see before. That's some rust under there. Pretty typical for under the battery tray on these things. I still got to fight with fitment here a little bit, but you know, when you get to this point on a build, there's lots of little things to chase, and we'll get there. The bottom of this door here, I'm not fully committed to not putting trim on. I'm not fully committed to putting trim on. So if I get the trim, it's nice to have those holes already there. If I don't get the trim, it's easy enough to weld them up. But if I weld them up and then decide to put the trim on, I'll be drilling through my welds. And I don't know how you're going to do that, not through my welds. Probably they'd fall out, but regardless, that was my plan for that. You probably see peeking through the back here, we got our exhaust on. Maybe we'll go down there and take a look in a minute. We got our interior in. I don't remember if that's in this video or not. If it is, my apologies. I'm sure I can edit it out. We got our seats in. They look great. It's a little dirty in here right now. I just got back from the exhaust shop. There's still some cleanup to do. A little bit of dust here and there, what have you. It looks good. I didn't replace any of the foam in the seats. I ended up just kind of repairing what I had, fluffing it up here and there. It's okay. Same as my door. These are the factory door panels that were on it, believe it or not. They're in nice shape. And 72 is kind of a 1 year only thing, so that's kind of nice. Dash pad was in good shape. Glass was in good shape. Visors were in good shape. I got lucky on some of that stuff. These are those red full doors we got that we cut down, just like the factory did in the early years. That fits okay. This paint job is this turbo can, trim clad or Rust-Oleum, whatever they call it. It's not great. It looks okay. I think it looks, to me, it looks better than the 6 colors it was before. I know some people kind of like the 6 colors. I prefer this. So, on the inside, I guess more of the same. We already looked at the other side. Still dirty. You know, driving this thing down the freeway today, got a little kind of sketchy with the steering. I think I need to replace those bushings and those front springs. My buddy Justin was over today and we're taking a look at it, and when somebody's inside moving the wheel back and forth, you can actually see that spring moving inside the bushings. So got to get some bushings ordered up, lickety split. Under the hood, let's take a look real quick. How do I do this here? Alright, there we go. Just that little Chevy 350. Boy, she runs nice. No problems there. Little Edelbrock 600, I think that is. That carburetor's not very good. That should probably be replaced sooner than later. Maybe I'll pick up a rebuild kit and throw it at it and see if I can smarten it up a little bit. But she runs pretty rich. Let's see here. Let's take a look. You see that back seat already? I can't remember if I showed it or not. Let's take a look at the back here. Oh, this latch needs some love. There's my spare tire carrier. That guy gets bolted on, something like that. Just haven't had time to get at it. There's the spare tire. You notice it's a rally wheel. May as well make it match. Get it matchy-matchy. We got our fuel system here all hooked up again. That's good. We did a new fuel tank down there. I don't know if you can see that or not. I don't want to give away too much on that exhaust. That exhaust is killer though. One of those get what you pay for kind of deals. Let's take a look at it, shall we? Because I don't mind it. You can see on this side he shot down, kept it up nice and tight to the frame there. Right? Look how nice and tight that is. And then when he clears the transfer case, he sneaks back up inside and tucks her in all the way down. Did a nice job. I'm really happy with it. This is a cold start. It's been parked for a few hours now. Let's see here. Pretty good. Got lots of oil pressure. Temperature, like I said, it's cold. And we're charging. Even the fuel gauge works. It's a pretty neat little, yeah, it's AC. It's an AC truck. It's not hooked up though. It's a pretty cool little rig. Anyway, that's where we're at. Kind of for now, I guess. Got some more improvements coming, and then we got that high boy that's not a high boy. We got that coming up next. But yeah, we'll be picking away at this guy. The wife and I took it out last night. We went for ice cream and all that good stuff. I ripped her down the freeway yesterday and today, actually. She's pretty good. I really like it. Anyway, that's going to do it for this one. If you stuck around this long, do me a favor, think about subscribing. All right. Thanks, guys. We'll catch you on the next one.